Hello, you're welcome to our HTML5 30 days coding challenge. Today is day one of this 30 days coding challenge, which means in the next 30 days, we're going to be focusing on HTML5. All right, today we want to look at understanding the basics of HTML, understanding the basics of HTML. And we're going to start off with what is HTML5? Well, HTML have had different versions, version 1, 2, and so on. But right now, we're in version 5, which is the latest version of HTML, and that's why we call it HTML5. So I want to make sure that everything I'm going to be teaching you in this challenge are the things that are in line with the latest version of HTML, not outdated knowledge. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Hypertext Markup Language. That is the full meaning of HTML. And it is used to structure the web content. Everything you see on a web page is structured using HTML. All right. It's just like a building. After a building is being completed, you see it looking so beautiful. But before the beauty, there were things used to structure the frame, the skeleton of the building, such as the bricks, the rods, the wood, and all of that. So that is how HTML is. When you are building a website or a web application, you need HTML to build the structure. All right. And then, because we are using the latest version of HTML, which is version 5, we're going to be making use of some new elements for better semantics and accessibility. So later in this challenge, we're going to look at in detail what semantics is and what accessibility is. All right, so it will also give us the opportunity to use modern features like audio, video, graphics without using any plugin. That is how wonderful the latest version of HTML is. Now, in summary, we have learned that HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and HTML5 is the latest version of HTML that gives us opportunity to use new elements for semantic and accessibility, and also new features like audio, video, graphics, and a lot more without using a plugin. And most importantly, HTML is used to structure content on the web. That is what it is used for. Up next, let us now look at what HTML actually do. Okay. First, it defines the structure of a web page, which I've said before. That's very important. In fact, if there is nothing else you should remember today, is that you should remember the fact that HTML defines the structure of a web page and nothing more. It tells the browser what each content represents. So on your website where you have images, links, videos, and text, you actually write some codes that the browser interprets to represent those things that you see there. That is the work, and that is what HTML actually do. Okay, now to bring about beautification to your web page, HTML works together with CSS. All right, and to bring about interactivity to your web page or web application, HTML works with JavaScript. But the bottom line is HTML is the foundation of every website and every web application. Every website or every web application that runs on a browser, it is structured or it outputs HTML. be it a banking app, be it a business website, be it a school portal, whatever it is that runs on a browser. Okay, up next, let's then look at what HTML is not. We've learned about what HTML is, what it actually do. Now, what is it that HTML is not? First, HTML is not a programming language. A lot of people think, oh, HTML is a programming language. No, it is not a programming language. It is a language that is specifically designed, created for structuring a web page, for creating the skeleton of a web page. So it does not add styles, colors, animations, not at all. Rather, CSS does the styling after HTML has set up the structure. Again, HTML does not make pages to be interactive. Okay, it is JavaScript that does the job of bringing interaction and interactivity to the web page. And last thing on my list here is that HTML does not handle business or backend logic and databases. Rather, we have the backend scripts and backend languages that takes care of that. So it is important that you note from today as you embark on this challenge that there are certain things that HTML don't do or does not do when it comes to web applications. Moving on to next. Now here we look at what you should expect in this 30 days coding challenge. What should you expect? First, you should expect daily practical coding activities starting from tomorrow. Starting from tomorrow, we're going to be expecting daily practical coding activities. All right, today's class is just to introduce us to HTML and give a little explanation. And from tomorrow, we start coding. Next, every code that we write will come with a beginner friendly explanation. Explanation is going to be in detail in such a way that anybody can understand it. So it is not all about how fast we go, but it's about how well we understand what we are doing. And we're going to be building a lot of mini projects. So if you are jumping on this coding on this challenge with me, get ready to build real world mini projects. And now what I expect from you is your consistency. You need to show up every day. You need to code today, code tomorrow, code the next day till we complete 30 days only with HTML. I need your discipline and I need you to be steady in making progress. When we have to work on a mini project, you do it as well. Now, what is the summary of what we have learned today? First, HTML is the starting point of web development. It is the foundation of every application that runs on a browser. All right. And we said HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML is not a programming language. HTML does not add styles to a web page. HTML does not add interactivity to a web page. And HTML5 is the latest version and it gives us room to make use of new features and new elements. HTML tells the browser how to display web content. And last but not the least, I want you to know that practice is more important than perfection. Practice is more important than perfection. So, starting from today, get ready, prepare yourself for us to start practicing. What should we expect next? Tomorrow, I'm going to be live on YouTube where we're going to start setting up our tools, and again, we write our first HTML code. That is what you should expect tomorrow. And I'm going to share the link to all the platforms where I'm going to be sharing the information about this challenge so that you get to know when the session is on. Stay committed and code every day. Stay committed and code every day. And again, stay committed and code every day. See you tomorrow.